to see you both.
I think I'm expecting one more to come.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But
Can't see
how
there
was
you
your
are.
trip? How was your trip in Egypt?
Yeah, I was there, 2 weeks ago. I didn't go to the
Mhm.
pyramids, so that's just the
It's
reminder.
just like the
But
hype.
yeah, that was a week with the dolphins in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah.
fabulous.
I bet it
So,
was.
great.
Did you have communication with them? With
Well,
the dog?
they're just so present. Yeah, I mean, it's not a
Yeah.
verbal or
Yeah.
even mental communication. It's more of a soul communication.
Yeah.
But it's like, any friendship with any animal, you
Yeah.
begin to relate on a level of deeper soul connection. And
Yeah.
then it's like you just enhance each other's skills and, whatever. So what we ended up doing is swimming with them several times a day. And then in the evenings, gather together to do some meditations and sharing. And, in that, just experiencing this great expansion because of this shared connection with the dolphins.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
together, the connection with the earth is enhanced.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so if you guys want to come next year, I'll be going in
Oh, would love to.
September.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing. So Egypt is a good place for dolphin?
well, there's this one place in the Red Sea. So it's a coral reef offshore,
Mm.
and it's surrounded by coral, so it's a protected area. And dolphins usually go out at night to hunt, and then they come into this reef to rest.
Uh-huh.
And that's where you can interact with them.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
That
it's a
sounds amazing.
wonderful opportunity.
Do you
Yeah.
have any photos? Do you have anything to show us?
Well, if you go to YouTube,
Uh,
I've put up
ah,
several videos. So
okay, okay.
here, I'll write down the name of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Wow, the ocean must be beautiful there, right?
it
That's
is. Oh, but
exciting.
it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah. So then it's dolphins in Sataya Bay. 1,
Mm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I
Ah,
think there's
okay.
maybe 12,
Oh,
12
wow.
Thank
videos that
you
I've put
so
up
much.
there.
Wow,
So
amazing.
yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah. Something you can't forget that stays with you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, over the years, I've been going once a year. So then you build a personal relationship with them. And then when you're there, they remember you. They come up just like any animal,
Yeah.
dog or, a lion or whatever. They remember you.
Uh,
And so it's like gradually every year, it's a deeper, deeper kind of relationship.
Oh, what a
uh,
friendship.
Yeah.
very, very sacred.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, there is Lilo. Lilo is here.
Oh,
Ah,
good.
Great.
okay.
Yeah, so great. I think this is the number. Say. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to receive you as well.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check my video setting again. Okay,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
cannot start video. Okay. Always something.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Oh, Kiara is gone.
Yep.
That's so true.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Come on.
Mhm.
Ah, there we
Got
go.
it.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm out
Hi.
in the snow with my laptop, so I had to change the setting.
Ah.
Oh. So
Good
I've been
morning, everyone.
So
Hi,
yeah,
Morning.
welcome. Good to see you.
great to have you. I have been reading your book, Kiara, on that Isa.
Ah, okay.
It's so
yeah.
beautiful. I mean,
Thank
I
your
you.
loved it.
writing, it's so poetic, it's so beautiful, just thrown into that.
Uh, yeah, thanks. And Mark, thank you for your editing as
Oh,
well.
you're welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I downloaded to Kindle 2 of your other books, the Gaia Luminous, and
Hmm.
how is that pronounced? Ilanahor?
Ilahinur.
Say that again.
Ilahinur.
Ilahinu.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ilahi is divine, Nur is light in
Okay.
Turkish, Arabic.
Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to reading those.
Hmm. Yeah,
You're a
thank
good
you.
writer.
Yeah, he's really good writer.
Thank you. I
Amazing.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my gifts. I really enjoy it and just feel such a, when the flow is there,
Hmm.
it's so much fun. It's like,
Yeah.
So for
I
you, the
just,
English is your main language?
yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay. Because your English is really beautiful.
yeah. Oh, thanks.
But you were born in India, no?
Yeah, yeah.
You always
Yeah,
write
but
in English.
I mean, English is the main language in India. There's
Mm,
regional languages, there's Hindi as the national
yes.
language. But for educational purposes, it's always English.
Ah,
So people speak, 3, 4 different languages
yeah.
usually,
Mm,
which is also true in Europe.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I think the US is one of the few countries where people don't speak a number of languages.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but it's not the same, no, to speak and to write. I mean, your
yeah.
writing, it's so flowing. Like,
Mhm.
I've always loved writing. Yeah.
ah,
And it's like, when you're in that mode, it's like someone else comes and speaks through you.
yes, like channel,
Ah,
almost
So
like.
yeah,
channel.
Mm.
Yeah.
so it's like, I feel so expanded and open when I'm in that mode and just
Mm.
able to connect. So when I'm in that flow of writing, I usually, I wake up early mornings, I start writing, and then I go for a walk, and then more inspiration comes during that time, and then I go back, and then
Mm.
maybe grab a bite, and then I'm back to writing, and it's like can't hardly wait
Yeah.
to
Mm.
go back into it. So now I'm working on the sequel. It's going to be a trilogy.
Oh, good.
So
Hey.
yeah, so next month I'll be actually taking a course in Kundalini Tantra Yoga, which is like the heart of Kashmir Shaivism,
Mm.
which is what Isa was actually exploring, and then which later became known as Kashmir Shaivism. But in his time, it was simply, the path of divine union. And so that's where those teachings actually emerge from.
Mm.
So as I'm writing, it's like more, information is coming through. Some of it is, of course, historical, but a lot of it just comes through in the process of putting it together.
Do you feel like you're channeling, Isa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever channeling means.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, coming through from the other side of the veil. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're
Or
all
higher.
channeling all the time. It's just who are we
Yeah.
channeling from what dimension?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because the personal self doesn't the personal self is exists to logically organize information, but where that information comes from, it's like, you're turning the radio frequency to a certain band or another band, and the mind is like that radio. It's not the source of information, but it receives it from wherever you're tuning
Right.
into.
Right.
So
I once took a weekend course, write your book in a weekend. And there I learned how to disengage the left side of my brain and just let it flow. And me being very cautious, But once I broke through, it is unbelievable how
Mm.
things just flow. You have
Mm.
no idea what came out. And of
Yeah.
course it needs editing, but it's really good to just let it flow.
How did you do that? How to stop the left brain? I'm just curious.
Well, it was a class that I took in Sedona, and I was curious because write a book in a weekend, right? You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and so he put us into an altered state and taught us how to disengage the left side of our brain, and just to start writing. I was typing, I had my laptop, and my book it turned out to be a children's book, sort of a young, older children's book.
Mm.
And it started with a man walked through soot-filled roads on a cold December morning. I said, oh yeah, where did that come from?
Mm.
But it ended up using information that I'm interested in, like eating meat or not, and the treatment of animals. And so that kind of came through that weekend. And I saw that there were a group of beings or guides or friends or whatever. I've seen them before, but they were the ones that were helping me bring it through.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I'm just not, I'm reluctant or lazy or whatever, but I don't connect with them enough. But
Mm.
I know that if I do, because they are so eager to work with me, that a lot of stuff will come through, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I mean, they are connected to others, and I think we have to do that at this time because the information needs to come.
Mm.
But personally, you know, I have sort of a bias against the term channeling, because a lot of people channel, and it turns me off, to tell you the truth.
Mm.
The way they talk, the way they change, and the authority. You never know who is really talking, you know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, it's like, if you're trying to do it, often you're connecting with spirits who inhabit the astral worlds,
mhm,
and they have something to say, no doubt, but it may
yeah,
not be necessarily the highest expression.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
so it all depends on what frequency, and it depends on your own clarity.
yeah,
So if you're stepping out of the way, if there's not much ego in the way, then you can
yeah,
actually open to other sources and it's all through the higher self anyway. And what is the higher self? It's not a personal self.
no,
It's a integrated divinity that exists through all things in all realms, in all beings. So it's just the linear idea that we have that this is, somehow separate and individual self. So writing or painting or any of these creative
any art, yeah.
modes is such a beautiful way to slip out of this identity.
Mm.
And then it's like you're open to this great big wind.
You know, ever since I was a child, even when I was really young, I experienced myself like almost like I was in a tube, and I was looking out through two holes onto the world around me. And ever since, I've always said, why am I me? Why is my consciousness, why is it separate? Why am I me? And I still don't know why I'm me.
Mm.
You know, it's like one time I experienced myself as a point of consciousness in where there was no form, communicating with another point of consciousness. And it was like, without words, ideas came across. And still there I still was one individual point of consciousness that was definitely me, you
Mm.
know, but
Well, there you go. That's the first line of your next book.
Oh, that's interesting. I should do that because then I'd get
Mhm.
more. Wow, I never thought of that. Yes.
That's the secret of writing for me. There's always the first line that comes through. It's not something you
Yeah.
think about. And
Yeah.
then once that first line is there, then everything else comes from that.
Mm.
Same thing when you're
Interesting.
speaking. Like if I'm giving a talk, I connect with the group energy and then wait for the first line to come through.
Mhm.
And then it may take a few seconds, a few minutes even. But
Yeah.
then once that happens, it's like the flow
Mhm.
is endless.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there
I'm
you
gonna
go.
write that. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Good idea. Good.
Do you have a kind of routine way to meditate yourself, Kiara?
Ah, I
Um,
am undisciplined, but I'm making my life a meditation, sort of. But
Mhm.
I just bought a Kindle book that talks about attention span and the lack of it, which I noticed I've had in these last few years. And he actually researched what is causing the lack of attention span in people in general, and that there's a concerted effort to create that on every continent. I never thought about that. So I'm going to finish reading that book, and he finds ways to stop it, because I have a memory of when I was like up until I was 23 or 24, when I got out into the world, I was able to concentrate on a single point for as long as I wanted to. I know I did, but I lost it, and I mean, I didn't lose it. It's still somewhere, but I haven't been able to use it. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, your writing is probably a meditation.
mhm.
When you tune
Yeah.
into that flow, it's true for me. When I
Oh,
write, I find myself actually tuning into a space above my head,
mhm.
and then there's like a very strong vibrational buzz,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then the words come from there.
Yeah.
So, most people think about meditation as something where you're freezing your mind or losing your mind or stopping the mind, but it's
Mhm.
not that so much, because there's many levels of the mind. You're simply attuning to a higher level of the mind, and then the rational mind starts to become a vehicle, just a vehicle rather than a instigator.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that
And
makes
so
sense.
then, like you're saying, also everything becomes a meditation. Awareness is the meditation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
your body becomes a meditation. You become aware of sensations. You become aware of feelings. You become aware of thoughts as they pass, but you're not trying to do anything. You're not trying to stop the mind or the ego or get rid of the ego, as many people talk about. Why?
Yeah.
What's the point? We are here to
Yep.
express
Yep.
this
That's
Yeah.
exact.
unity consciousness through the personal ego,
Yep.
rather than identify with the personal ego. So when we make that distinction, it's we can embrace it all.
For me,
There's no
it's like
resistance. Yeah.
tasting each moment. No, it's like really
Yeah.
focusing on a tasting or enjoying that
Mm.
100% be inside of the body, and then feeling that, and not be there and there.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Right.
In 1980, I studied the Course in Miracles, and the Course in Miracles was very, very big on killing the ego. And even then, you know, I said, no, thank you. My ego doesn't want to be killed.
Mm.
And along the line, I made a pact with my ego. I said, okay, you can be with me, but one thing you have to accept, that you have to go along with my growth. You cannot stop it. You know, if you are willing to grow together with me, then we'll do it together.
Mm.
And somehow for me it worked, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
perfect.
the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
it's a-
said, earlier that you don't know what your purpose is or something of that sort. And
Who
that
I,
comes,
yeah, my consciousness. Why am
yeah.
I me? Yeah.
Why am I you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a very evolving question, because your
Mhm.
sense of you, it starts off as a child, there's no sense
Yep.
of personal self. You just, are. And then the mind develops, and then the ego develops, not as a bad thing. It's simply a way of constructing
Mhm.
a personal self. Without that, we'd be zombies. What's the point?
yeah.
Yep.
But then,
Yep.
Mm.
then it's a matter of integrating the personal ego with the divine self.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then your sense of me-ness starts to expand. You're no longer this me that's related to the body, related to roles that you play in life, but the me-ness becomes more inclusive.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that me-ness then extends to you as we are relating to each other in this chat. It includes other people in our lives, and then it includes nature, then it includes other planets, then it includes non-physical realms, then it includes an entire universe, then it includes space beyond time. And so, the me-ness actually eventually includes primordial consciousness, beyond time, beyond space, beyond creation. Like Jesus said, I and the Father are one. That was spoken from that place of primordial union. But he also referred to himself as a man, as a son, as a whatever roles that he was playing, as a teacher, as a student. So, we can include all of that. It's not about slicing ourselves into pieces.
It's still, you know, I'm totally aware of all that, but as I'm speaking to you from here right now, it is me speaking. It's not the universe speaking. It's not that. It's like me speaking. And I'm still trying to figure out why I am this me.
Okay, so that's where you can create a very subtle shift. Is it you speaking as Lilo, or is it the universe speaking through Lilo, as
Okay.
Lilo?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's we tend to create a separation between what we consider as me and the universe out there, but it's not so separate. You are the universe. As a human, you are still the universe, speaking and reflecting and expressing through the human personality. So,
I understand that, but how do you feel it? How is that? How can you? How can I at this moment know that I am all that? I mean, intellectually I understand it,
yeah,
but I want to know more than just intellectual.
yeah, I know, and I think that's the journey. And for me, it's about recognizing that I cannot, or how should I say this? If my emotions are not the marker of how I feel about myself. So, in other words, I could be feeling really crappy
Mhm.
and still be me.
Mhm.
I could be
Yes.
feeling really connected, and that's also me. Because the
Mhm.
me is not just who I think I am or feel I am, it's all of it. So it doesn't matter what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what my mood is. That's all reflections of the personal self. And I then just witness that. Oh, okay. So now this is coming up, this is being expressed. But who is expressing it? That's divine consciousness.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
think I'm getting something for myself. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's also like Qigong practice when we do like
Mm,
the open and concentrate, no? Open, concentrate that, then we really feel that we are really fat and there's no limitations, no boundaries. And then we come
Yeah,
back to us,
yeah,
no? That's when
right,
I feel
right,
physically.
Mm. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the expansion, the
Mm.
contraction. And no, don't expect that you'll always be expanded. And don't expect that expansion is better than contraction. Because
Mhm.
that's what we kind of,
Mhm.
the mindset that we create. Oh, spirituality means we're always going to be expanded.
Mhm.
Maybe it's about being contracted into real human embodiment, because we
Yeah.
forget that we are here to be embodied.
Yeah.
And what does embodiment mean? Sometimes we're so focused on enlightenment as an upward movement, we forget about embodiment as the
Mhm.
descent.
Mhm.
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 They use the word more like a sovereign, no? More than ego. When we talk about the one sovereign, it's important to be oneself as well, not only just oneness.
Ah, interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
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 Interesting conversation. Yes.
And I find that, um, well, there was a time I worked as a psychotherapist and worked with a lot of people who were deeply traumatized and um, who are diagnosed as multiple personalities. And it's really interesting to observe that what happens is you're talking with someone, and then suddenly they switch, and another personality shows up, completely different. Different roles, different identity, even different genders, different
Mm.
ages, uh, different aspects of consciousness. One could be, an adult, functional, um, functional in the world, earning a living, mother, whatever, to her children. And then another personality comes up who's 2 years old as a male. His role is as a protector. Then another personality comes up who's been really traumatized, who's experiencing the pain of a 5-year-old who is deeply abused, and so on. And each personality doesn't recognize that there's other personalities sharing the same form.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe we're not wounded in that way, but we still have sub-personalities,
Mhm.
which are related to certain moods. So if
Mhm.
you're feeling in a certain mood, you feel contracted. If you're feeling in another mood, you're feeling expanded.
Mhm.
But who is it who's feeling this or that? It's the same.
Mhm.
The mood isn't who you are. The
Mm.
personality isn't who you are. And
Mhm.
so that's what I learned from working with these beautiful people who are fractured, that we also have that tendency to fracture ourselves and then
Mhm.
identify with one or the other of those pieces.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So then when we step out and become the witness, we begin to identify with the wholeness and
Mhm.
observe how that wholeness then fractures itself and begins to identify with this or that. But
Mhm.
the witness doesn't change. And the witness
Yeah.
is another aspect of our being, right? We could call it the higher self or the divine self or whatever. But even the witness is not really who we are. Then beyond that is just presence. irrespective of what you're
Yeah.
feeling, thinking, experiencing. It's just that's just the divine presence
Yeah.
Mhm.
without
You know,
qualities.
at one point I practiced hypnotherapy,
Hmm.
transpersonal hypnotherapy,
Ah,
and some of my clients, they resolved their issues by going into other lives
hmm,
and reliving certain things. And I could even see the change in their facial expression when they were
hmm,
expressing that life.
hmm,
But what I also thought is possible that these, in order to resolve an issue, they could have tapped into somebody else's life in the collective unconscious.
mhm,
It wasn't necessarily their own life, but they
mhm,
took an example from a life somebody else lived and applied it to their situation, and it helped them heal. I think that sometimes when people think they've been this or that in another
hmm,
life, it could be that they are just grabbing it out of the collective unconscious or
hmm,
Ashkaric records or whatever
hmm.
people call that. And that also expresses through them, even though they didn't live it directly themselves.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. I totally agree with that. Yes, I don't
Ah,
believe that, a linear um, model of reality
mhm,
needs a linear time scale or timeline.
mhm,
So there's past lives or future lives or whatever. But
mhm.
if we experience ourselves simultaneously as presence,
Yeah.
we can be present in that Akashic world, Akashic zone,
Uh-huh.
and receive whatever we need
Yeah.
and refer to it as life, as past lives, which
Yeah.
is why many people could have the same past life. Many people experience being Joan of Arc, or many people experience being Mary Magdalene, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because it's in the collective. We're tapping into that archetypal zone, and
Mhm.
then for that moment it becomes ours. That's why channeling is such a it's a state of consciousness where you're attuning to the collective, to that
Mhm.
Akashic
Mhm.
realm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you're doing that through your writing, you're tapping into that. You don't need to refer to it as your past life, but it's simply a story that exists or will exist through you,
Yep.
because you are the universe, and the universe is always creating and creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's creativity is the ground of the universe,
Yeah.
of of consciousness itself. So yeah, so Jane Roberts talks about that
Mhm.
Huh.
Mhm.
in some of her books. I
Mhm.
think the Oversoul 7 books and the
Yeah.
nature of personal reality and
Yeah.
others. But it's like, and at first it really bothered me. It's like, oh, how can you know? So who am I then? Because I was still identified with the personal self,
Yeah.
and had the sense that, yeah, if I die, then this piece of me, this Kiara, will come back and recognize itself as Kiara. But that's not necessarily how it works.
Mhm.
Um, so when I die, or when someone close to me dies, I can still communicate with them, and there'll be an aspect of them that I can relate to as I knew them in this incarnation. But they are not necessarily just that. They're experiencing themselves as uh, a different incarnation completely, not with
Right.
the past life of having been in this incarnation, unless they're relating to me, if I communicate with them. So
Mm.
it's like, that's the nature of consciousness. We are so fluid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Yeah.
learned with the dolphins,
Oh,
to
that's
become
what I
fluid.
wanted. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to know. How was that in
Yeah.
Egypt?
So, well, that's the gift of the dolphins for me. It's like when I'm with them, and especially as a group, because we usually go with a group of people, and over the days, swimming with them, and then doing meditations, sharings together every evening. There's a dissolving of personal boundaries and personal ego. And then you start relating to the dolphins as they relate to you, which is just simply presence. They don't relate to us as dolphins. You know, we're still holding that human role, that human idea. But that starts to dissolve because in their presence, it's just what happens.
That
And
sounds
that's
wonderful.
why there's so much, people experience so much joy, because joy is a sense of letting go of the personal self, the boundaries of separation. You simply become the universe, become the self expressing through this, form that's
Yeah.
identified as Lilo or Marg or Ayako, Kiara. So yeah, so that was it's the highlight of my year.
Oh,
And that week with
I could
them.
be jealous.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
come,
too.
come. I take people out every year. So next year I'll be
Oh,
going for 2 weeks in September, first and second
oh,
weeks. So if you
al-
let me know
always
if
in
you're,
Egypt?
pardon?
Always in Egypt?
Well, always in Egypt so far, because I have a friend who has a boat, and we just spend the week on the
Oh,
boat, anchored in the
oh,
in this very special coral reef, where
mm,
the dolphins have their home. But I if there's other places, I'd love to swim with whales and with sharks and with other marine creatures, other
right.
species of dolphins.
Mm,
It's like they are all part of
yeah.
consciousness expressing. You know, when people first hear sharks, it's like, oh my God, because we have this image of sharks, which is based on fear. Movies like Jaws or whatever,
Yeah.
and stories people make up. And sharks are not predators, they're scavengers. And they're very, very sensitive in their nervous system, in their senses. They smell fear, they smell aggression, and they mirror that. If they sense fear, they'll be curious. It's like, why is this? Because fear is a disruptive frequency. So is aggression. When people go in with that aggressive energy, they'll respond to that with curiosity, not with aggression necessarily, but with curiosity. And then that brings up more aggression, more fear for humans. And then it's like they switch into a different mode. They might take a bite to taste what this energy is about, but it's not, we are not their prey. They don't attack us to feed off us. If we go in with equanimity, even with love and with curiosity, then what happens is amazing. And I haven't experienced this directly. I've talked with people who have, and there's a woman, Anna Breitenbach, who's an animal communicator from South Africa. She has this wonderful YouTube video on that, what it means to be in relationship with sharks. So one of my dreams is to be, with sharks. I wouldn't do this by myself at first. I'd want to go there with people who've had that experience, to basically, you know, um, learn how to address that instinctive fear that comes up for all of
Right.
us.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
I met this man, I forget his name now. Um, I'll think of it in a moment. Um, I I met him in Hawaii, and he was doing a course in animal communication. And he teaches people how to play with wild animals, with bears, with wolves, with tigers and lions, with, animals who are wild. And the first thing is not to relate to them as prey or predator. You relate to them as playmates, which happens when you step into that curiosity.
Yeah.
So when you step into fear, okay, you're back into the predator-prey relationship or aggression. But when you become playful, that's why wild animals relate to children.
Mm.
You know, they become curious, and children become curious before they learn how to be afraid. Because fear is a learned response. Fear is not natural to us.
Mm.
So before children learn to be fearful, they simply are curious. And
Yeah.
so what this man was teaching people is to step back into that curiosity and from that place relate. And it's not just animals, it's everyone, it's to humans as well.
Yes,
It's to the invisible realms, it's to nature spirits and fairies,
Mhm.
it's to ascended masters and teachers. So it's all curiosity, and curiosity creates connection. And curiosity generates love.
Mm.
Native
Yeah.
Americans, North American Native Americans are teaching some things like that, and how to communicate and with animals. And I once had a very close encounter with a rattlesnake where I was totally vulnerable. And it was so amazing how we looked at each other and we knew she wasn't afraid of me and I wasn't afraid of her. She just watched me. I was going up a steep incline on my hands and knees, and she didn't move one bit. And we watched each other, and I just passed by, and it is exactly what you're talking about. In that moment, I was not fearful, but I was very surprised to see her there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then that becomes, so when the Native American people talk about power animals, for instance, it's all animals, but from that place of power.
Yeah.
So then you are connecting with the power of the rattlesnake because you relate to it as a brother, as a sister, as a creature, as a relative, rather than the human separate role, which then leads to some kind of hierarchy, division based on fear and aggression.
I
So
don't have
what I'm sharing
Mm-hmm.
is look at the books I've shared online on
Yeah, it's
the
so
chat.
beautiful. Great. Tom
Yeah, you
Brown.
can download them. So
Mhm.
it's a series of books by Tom Brown Jr., who was he has a tracking school somewhere in the eastern coast, but his teacher was an Apache elder who had never lived in the reservations or a city or anywhere close to civilization. His people had managed to escape from the scourge of the white man. And so grandfather, as he's known by Tom, his name is Talking Wolf, teaches Tom about how to relate to nature, relate to the wilderness, and relate to the spirit that moves through all things. It's a beautiful set of books, and so if you would like to download and read those, it's
Yeah, it's
an
great.
adventure.
Thank you so much.
Where do you find them?
Here, it's on the chat. So go into the chat.
I'm not on the chat at all. Okay. Let me get the
Yeah,
chat.
there's that.
Okay.
And then just click on each one and it'll download.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much. That's
Oh,
useful.
sure.
Yes, thank you.
It
for
looks
that.
like a
That's
very
wonderful.
old book, no? Oh, no, but 1993. So
Yeah,
old.
they are old. I mean, most of them I think he's maybe from the 60s and 70s, 80s.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a great teacher for me. People like Tom
Mhm.
Brown, people like Jane Roberts, people like Carlos Castaneda.
Ah,
You know,
yeah.
they were a very particular type of people who were storytellers.
Yeah.
Mm.
And their stories were the stories of life and creation.
Yeah.
Stories based on relationship with nature, with the earth, with
Mm.
grandmother earth or mother earth, you know, which is the way that the indigenous people related to life. We've
Yep.
forgotten that. And
Mhm.
these are reminders.
Oh, this is great.
Yes, sometimes, some people say the native people have a special way to speak.
Hmm.
Then some intellectual people say they cannot follow their way of speaking because it's
Yeah.
not like so logic, right? But I mean, I like it, no, because it's very
Yeah.
experiential. So,
Yeah.
somehow the modern people forgot.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the more mythical mind. So, you know, there's a
Yeah.
logical mind and the mythical mind.
Mm,
Myth doesn't mean it's not real. It's more real, in fact,
Mhm.
than the logical world.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
real, that has to be grasped through other senses, you know, by
Yeah.
expanding our senses, expanding our perceptions.
mm,
And, you know, we have learned to condense our awareness, our perception of reality through these five senses. And even those five senses, we've narrowed them down to a very narrow range. And you asked about dolphins. You know, one thing about dolphins, their range is much greater than ours.
Mm.
So their
Very
sonar actually covers a range that is far beyond our ability to see or hear or feel. And that's why when they make those sounds, it it enters into those invisible ranges,
mm,
and which is why it opens up our consciousness so much. You know, it
Oh,
frees up the mind, it frees
yeah.
up the senses,
Mm.
it frees up those um, layers of conditioning, those traumas that we hold on to as our own identity. And then
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, we recognize ourselves for who we are, not
Yeah.
the role
Oh,
that we play.
So it's
Mm.
kind
wow.
of
Yeah.
multidimensional frequency, no?
Yeah,
Multidimensional kind of wow
exactly,
vibe.
exactly. So that's the same thing you're talking about, Ayako, when you relate the native people around the world, they are able to tune into that way of being, that way of seeing, which is mythical, which is the connection with the invisible realm, the archetypal realm,
Mm.
where the dream world. You know,
Yeah.
the Aboriginals talk about dream time.
Right.
So this is where magic happens. This is where magic becomes a way of life.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
I have been doing the channeling for people's dream recently.
Mm,
I
mm,
asked them to tell me their dream, what was striking, like object or
Mm.
whatever the memory. Then I start to connect the guys, and then
Yeah.
I just channel, and it's kind of very interesting. Like
mm,
so many
mm.
meanings. Well, of course, I can say that I'm making up, but anyways, it's more like a deeper way to see the meaning of the dreams.
mm.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. You know, one way to relate to a dream, you wake up from a dream and then you take out your notebook. You don't move as much as possible. You stay in the same position to the extent you can, because then the recall is greater. As soon as you move your body, the dream starts to fragment.
Mm.
And then you start relating to each part of the dream as you. So if you're dreaming of, you know, walking in the wilderness and meeting a mountain lion. Okay, so who is you? You are the mountain lion. You are the grass and that the mountain lion appears from. You are the Ayako that shows up in the dream. Every part of the dream is you. And then you have a dialogue between these different parts of you.
Mm.
And then, so if the mountain lion is attacking you, and in that dialogue, you find that he's actually offering a gift. What is that gift? So you look for that. So the dream then takes on many layers. And then you realize that, okay, this is a night dream. The daydream is also a dream. So this life, if we experience it as a dream, who's the dreamer? So that's another,
Yeah.
gateway. Who's the dreamer? So just as in this life, I experience myself as separate from you, but in the mind of the dreamer, I and you are not separate from each other.
Yeah.
Just like in our night dream, every aspect of the dream eventually returns to the dreamer. So then the me is no longer this dream. The me includes the dreamer. The me is the dreamer. And then there's many different dimensions of being the dream and the dreamer. And then eventually all of creation is a dream in the mind of primordial consciousness. That's the dreamer. And that's who we are. So this is like it's a way of discovery by entering into that mythical mind. And the dream time could be an access to that.
It's like resonance now. When we resonate with something and it just appears, so it's like striking to our eyes, just jump in, because otherwise I'm not looking at those things.
Yeah.
I'm just absorbing everything that you're saying. It's very inspiring listening. I'm sorry I'm not really very talkative today, but I'm listening.
And now it's your turn to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying I'm taking it all in, and it's going very deeply into my being right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the nature of presence, isn't it? That we just receiving from everything, and that receiving goes into the deep place of the heart.
Yeah.
Not through this level of mind, but the deeper level of mind.
Right. Yeah.
Then it starts to transform something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since we were talking about a dream, I didn't have a dream, but this sentence was right there as I woke up, and it says, "Where love talks, sustenance walks." So remember that. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Where love talks, sustenance walks. Okay, so how would you? Okay, so pretend that now you're listening to someone else share that dream. How would you interpret that for them?
Well, I would interpret it that when you are expressing love, you receive sustenance, like something like that. Yeah, I don't know, but
So
it
how
was
do you?
I was so strong. This sentence, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I love the poetry of that.
Yeah. I don't know who told me, but that's what I got.
Yeah. So when love talks, or when love talks, sustenance walks. Yeah. Yeah. So the voice of love is very different from the voice of fear. And you mentioned the Course in Miracles. The opposite is not love and hate, but love and fear.
Yeah.
So wherever there's fear, there's no room for love. Where there's love, there's no room for fear.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And love sustains us then.
Yeah.
So wherever we walk, wherever we go, we know we're protected, we know we're safe, we know we're guided, we know there's nothing to fear, we know we're taken care of in every possible way, because then we are in the moment, and in the moment there's no fear.
Yeah.
The fear comes up when we get attached to stories. What's going to
Mhm.
happen to me? Am I going to be okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, love is it for me anyway. At this point in my consciousness, I don't know anything better than love. You know.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's all
Absolutely. Yeah. And people make too much sentimentality out of love,
Mhm.
and they relate it to, it's like in the English language, you can love ice cream, you can love
Right.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
person.
part of it, but that's not it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But love is to become,
Yeah.
really. You
Mm.
see something outside of you, seemingly, and then it's no longer outside of you because you're that. And then,
Interesting.
love is
Mm.
simply the relationship of becoming at one.
Mm.
It happens instinctively or intuitively. It's not something through this
Yeah.
mind, but it's about opening the heart so that this level of mind can also expand to include
Mm.
that unity. So when grandfather talks about the spirit that moves in all things, that's what
Mhm.
love is. Then you're attuned to nature in the same way. You're tuned to the universe. You relate to each other. You see everything as a relative. So when the Native American people would say, in greeting, we are all relatives, mitakyasan, and which
Yeah.
basically means I see you as me. I see me as you.
Mhm.
Namaste in the Hindu
Namaste. Yeah.
tradition, the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
The God in me recognizes the God in you.
Mhm.
Nice, nice, nice.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. I don't even like the word nice. It's superficial. No.
But we use it like should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to invent a whole new language.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Well, maybe we will. Well,
Yeah.
at least I got some inspiration about writing. So
Hmm.
that's good.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, curious to see what comes.
yes, me
Wow.
too.
Yeah.
I'm here in the mountains for another week or so, so I'll have time to ponder on that. That's good.
Great. Sedona, where are you now? Are you in Sedona now?
No, I'm in the Sierra Nevadas, Mammoth Mountain.
Okay.
It's a ski resort. My husband skis, but I don't. I don't even like the snow, but I'm here.
Well, you've got other mountains to ski.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling so much peace, energy here in my heart, here in this circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
You
calming.
know, it's for me, I don't often get to have conversations with people on this level. And I'm so grateful for this. I
Yes.
really enjoy
Me
Beautiful
too.
it.
time.
Very
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Me
different
too.
connections on earth, we all are in very different areas, which I love. It's really nice.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, when we first started this, I had no idea that it would be a repeat.
Mhm.
And I'm open to doing this more often,
That would be
and
nice.
open to inviting other people.
Yeah.
And one thought is, Ayoka, you're recording it anyway. We could put this on YouTube or whatever.
Okay,
And
sure.
then, and that way, if people don't mind, make it available to
I mean,
the
I
public.
did make the YouTube last time and I gave it to you, so I can do it just open in public, and then people just can see it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Great.
Particularly
Yes.
editing something, but
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
just the flow of the conversation. Just
Yeah,
put
that
the
would be
invitation
nice.
if some people want to join, maybe. I spoke to one lady on Clubhouse, and then she's from Egypt, and then she works here in Japan, and then because she was very into the Sufi. So I said, "Oh, I know, Kiara just is going to Egypt." No, it was that time. And then, but today, this is like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I sent her the link this morning as well, but she's not coming. So maybe it's a time way, but yeah. But I think.
So what I'll do is, send me the recording.
Mhm.
I'll upload it to my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Kiara
yours.
Windrider.
That'd be good. Yeah.
And then I could also upload it. There's a channel called Conscious Awakening Network. And
Oh,
I've been
that sounds
putting
good.
things up
Yeah.
on that occasionally. So if something, if I have permission for that, and if it feels right for people, and if it feels like it can inspire others, we can do that.
Yeah, because it's always nice to have such a chat, no?
It
Yeah,
is.
Talk and
Yes.
just share and
Yeah.
get inspired
Yes.
with each other. And
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much peace now.
Mm.
It's so great.
Yeah,
it
that's
should
why I
be
love
fun.
doing this.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Me too.
Hopeful for humanity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful human beings on earth. I
Yes.
love them so much,
Yes.
Really, really grateful for all of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Good. So
So
when is our next meeting then? It's gonna be the end of the year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, what's today? Yes,
Today
The
we
30th.
kind of
November
said at the end
30th,
of the
where you
month,
are.
but
So
like 31st
well,
is everybody's busy, no? So 30th or 29th, 30th, it's a family time.
30th. Yeah.
Wednesday?
Well, I'm totally flexible, so I'm good. Yeah.
What about
okay,
Kiara?
so I'm okay. So
Yeah, I'm okay.
30th, maybe.
30th,
Mhm.
Okay.
30th December.
12:30. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so for Ayako and me, that would be the 31st.
Yeah, to celebrate the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy because that's the perfect time for me because I live in this time zone.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we are.
Me too.
Kind of tricked to be here.
Oh, good. Yeah. Usually I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I'm
Uh,
staying up. I haven't slept yet. I'm staying up. But
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not to
Yeah.
miss this Zoom
Yeah,
because
me
otherwise
too.
I'm
For
going
me,
to sleep.
it's 1:30 a.m. now.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
So,
Yeah. Okay, so then let's end this for now,
yep.
and we'll meet. So
Yeah,
Ayaka, would you send out the invite again
I
for
will.
next time?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be for you.
And feel free
me.
to invite anyone you wish, that you feel is resonant
Yeah.
with this.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
help.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you,
is-
all
Yeah.
of you.
And thank you
Yeah.
for
Love,
Kiara.
love. See you soon.
Okay,
Oh,
see you.
mwah.
Blessings.
Much
Bye.
love.
Bye.
Bye.